Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson, and I am coming to you from a springtime holler in eastern Kentucky. Things are starting to turn green around here and starting to look pretty and inviting again. In the wintertime, well, it kind of looks drab and dull, but the snow's pretty when it does come. Anyway, this is the path forward, and I do welcome you here to the show, the program. And I hope through this program we can get some conversation started. But what I want to talk about today, is three people. First one is Greg Gutfeld on Fox News. Greg, if you're watching, yeah, this is about you. This is also about Della Mulvaney, and it's about her. And it's also about Marcus Dibb with the offensive tranny. And it's about him. And then it's about the rest of us, too. All right, what's going on with all the rest of us. So let me just take a look at this really quickly. Let's start with Greg Gutfeld. So I was watching Greg on the 5 just earlier today. And yeah, I do have a tendency to watch Fox News sometimes, but well, a lot of times, because, I like to know what's going on the other side. Greg said some things today, though, that were really profound, and they're probably not profound to him or not even to me, really, but they're really good statements. And a part of this is it's about activism, okay? Activism, and the activists within these communities, the LGBTQ plus IA alphabet communities, this entire community, there are activists within this. There are gay activists. There are lesbian activists. There are lots of transgender activists. There are lots of non-binary activists. There are lots of gender non-conforming activists. There are activists all over the place. There's actually activists on Fox News, even though they don't like to claim that title. And they also don't like to claim the fact that they're media, but they are media. And they're almost legacy media these days. So anyway, we've got all of that and all these activists there. And his claim was that the gays and lesbians allowed the trans part, to come in and then take over the whole thing. As a matter of fact, everything that takes place in the LGBTQ plus community now is centered around the T, which is a true statement. And he's right. The activist transgender people went in and actually turned it upside down. Now, here's the thing. Those of us who just want to live and let live, we take great offense at some of the things that are coming out of these places, out of that alphabet soup. We take great offense of it. And why is that? Because it harms all of us. We're continually having to fight the things that the activists are doing. Greg, thank you for saying what you did this evening. I appreciate it on the 5. You did a great job. There are days when you and I have severe disagreements. But, oh my God, today you did it right. All right. There are transgender activists out there. And you also said it does not apply to all trans people, but you were quick to pull away from that one because you didn't want to seem like you were supporting some transgender people. And you did say that you have a lot of gay and lesbian friends and you enjoy going out with them and, and all this kind of thing because, they can be funny. That's what you said. And, I happen to agree with that. But a T comes along, the transgender people come along, the transgender activist, not all transgender people. And by transgender, I'm just referring to the entire group, all of it, whether they call themselves transsexuals or trannies. And I hate the word tranny. It is a slur. It rates right up there with the N word. But I respect what Greg said today on that show. He said it correctly. And why? Why is this such a big deal? Because the way I see it, and many people see it within the community, within society, is that much of what the transgender community is doing is performative. It's performance art, folks. And yeah, this is likely to piss some people off. The rest of us just want to live. We have found ways to kind of manage our gender dysphoria. And that's what Marcus Dibb was saying over on the offensive tranny. We've kind of found ways to manage that. We're trying to find ways to fit in and actually live our lives and thrive. But we have these performance artists out there like Dylan Mulvaney, who actually stands up there, puts themselves out on a billboard, and then goes and shares their books with people, walking like some idiot through the streets of New York City. I was disgusted by the video clips of her walking through, of Dylan walking through New York City. It was a caricature. It was somebody who was, this is the kind of behavior you'd expect from someone who is 4 years old, maybe. I call them teenagers because they've got a long way to go. They're exploring all kinds of options and different things. But Dylan, I don't know how old Dylan is, but she definitely is behaving preteen. Just doing everything just to be gaudish, really bad. It's almost like it's a drag queen show. That's really what it amounts to. Marcus Dibb, on the other hand, is trying to be very serious and sincere and showing himself as what we call a trans man. He calls himself a transsexual, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's an outdated term. I get it. But this Marcus is a young person, which is I find strange because I don't like using the word transsexual either, or tranny for that matter. But the part of the trans community that's out here being the activist and trying to get people to go listen to them tell stories to kids in libraries and schools and things like that, or out on the park bench, all decked out looking more like a drag queen than anything else. Well, yes, they're going to be lambasted. Yes, we're going to go after them. You're causing tremendous trouble for all of us. And it becomes an easy target for Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters and anyone else over on the right and on Fox News or wherever, the Washington Examiner, any of those places, they will use that as cannon fodder every time. You're giving them the bullets to fire at the entire community by the behaviors of those who want to run around and act like, this is what I think a woman acts like. No, it's not. There's no woman in the world who would act like Dylan Mulvaney. But she's got a long way to come. Okay, I know she's got a long way to go. She's got a lot of followers. Yeah, I get it. I understand all that. But it is a show. It's like going down to, I don't know, some gay bar or trans bar somewhere, or gay bar, and going in and watching the drag shows. Dylan Mulvaney is that. It's performative. She believes it. That's who she is. I will always acknowledge that. That's what she thinks of herself as, and she's in that place, and she's making a lot from it. Good for her. Will not disparage her for that. But the rest of us in this community are being dragged down because of this performative art, this performance art that Dylan is doing, or that Rose Montoya did at the White House, or any number of other people out there, like going into the bathroom with a beard in the women's bathroom and shaving. Ugh. There's not a woman alive who would do that. They would act, gross and offended, and they can talk to each other that way. I mean, definitely, that's absolutely the case. But I'm going to tell you, it's definitely not performance art. But let me just qualify what I mean by that. Okay. All of us, every human on earth, performs their gender the way they perceive it within the societies in which they live. That's a fact. In Muslim countries, you have a different attire, different dress for the men and the women. In Christian countries, different from one country to another even. How you perform your gender, which is not the same thing, by the way, as your biological sex or your DNA. It's not the same thing, related, connected to it. But that, these people are causing the entire community a huge problem. And I want to say it right now to every one of you. We've got to stop the performance and start living the way we're supposed to be living in the societies in which we live, recognizing that 99.5% of these societies live in the binary world. X, X, and X, Y. Now, they haven't gone into all the nuances of what that might mean, or the biology of that, or the science and epigenetic influences, and all those things. I could go rattle on and on and on, which I know a lot of, and which I've been accused of being a academic, which I guess you say I am, but that's my background. Okay, I know this stuff. I don't know it all. I'm learning every day something new, and I always appreciate what I learn and challenge every thought that I have, everything. But the one thing we can't tolerate anymore are the performance artists on the T side of things. And I'm also on the gays and lesbians, because a lot of what goes on with that is performative as well. Just look at any pride parade. You can't tell me that those leather straps holding things up is not performative. You can't tell me that the dog masks and the cat tails and whatever else, the chains and leashes and all of that stuff, you can't tell me that that's normal. That's performative. You're trying to get in the spotlight. You're trying to make a statement that everybody else hears. But what you're doing, you're destroying the normal lives of the rest of us who just want to live, enjoy our lives on this earth with our kids and grandkids, which I've got 4 kids and 8 grandkids scattered around the country. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what I want to do. I've got to take care of my family right here in Eastern Kentucky. That's why I'm here. The rest of this stuff out there is drag queenish, performative BS. And I don't know any other way to say it. And Greg, thank you for being straightforward today. And Dylan, I don't know what to tell you on that one. And it's you got a long way to go before you find out what womanhood is really all about. Okay, I don't know. All I can do is observe and watch. And I can tell you, you aren't yet. You're still a preteen. And as for Marcus Dibb, well, Marcus, very wise, very sound person, very reasonable person, but you have a long way to go too. Long way to go. You're far more conservative. Marcus believes that he is not ideological, that he doesn't have a ideological perspective on things. He's just telling the truth. But that's a truth that's based on his values of how he sees things through his lens of understanding. And it's a little more conservative and also offensive. I, for one, would never use the word tranny to describe anything because it's offensive. Offensive to me, offensive to others. We don't use that. That is a sexualized word that has to do more with pornography than anything else. And even though I know that transsexual started out just being a representative description of people before the word transgender came into play, transsexual, it too has a societal impression of being pornographic or lewd. Trannies, same thing. Tranny boy or lady boy or any of those other things out there. Those are all horrible slang words that are just, we don't use them. We don't use them. The rest of us want to live in peace. Greg Gutfield, thank you for being honest about things today. Now, I do disagree with you on a whole slew of other things. I've sent you text messages on that. Or at least I've sent Jesse text messages, and you're the 5 text messages too over on X. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say today, that we need to make sure that what we are doing is not just performative. We don't stick our face up on some billboard somewhere and we go around going, this is how you're supposed to be a woman. No, it's not. You're fooling yourself. If you believe that, you're fooling yourself. But a lot of people enjoy the show because it is art in that sense. Drag is an art. Dylan Mulvaney is also performance art. Those following in those lines are performance art. Marcus Dibb is also performance art. The way he is perceiving it, the way he's putting it out there, that's the way he sees it, and that's how he's performing this part of who he is. He's a little more mature than Dylan, but both of them have mountains to go, okay? With that, I'll see you tomorrow evening. Let's have one other talk about all this stuff because, you know, there's a lot out there. I haven't even touched anything about what Trump did today. No, plenty of it. Bye.